Hello, welcome or welcome back to Yoga with Paige. Today's practice, we stretch and lengthen out about every single muscle group, full body stretch, making this practice perfect for a daily kind of quick and easy stretch routine. Suitable for all levels. I don't use a block, but if you know that you use one in your practice generally, I would grab that and your mat now. And let's get started. We begin today in a gentle seat of your choice. Closing the eyes, taking a second to roll the shoulders back and down. Raising the right hand, taking it to the left ear, gently pulling the right ear to the shoulder, using gravity to assist us here to open up the neck. Releasing the hand, tucking the chin into the chest to roll the left ear to the left side, using the left hand and gravity. Releasing and ending out the full circle, bringing the neck back. Maybe taking one slow circle in reverse. Bringing out those neck muscles. And once we find our center, inhaling the arms above the head, dropping the right to the mat and reaching over with left. Just a gentle side body opening. Exhale to switch hands, reaching over with the right. Exhale, coming into our tabletop, finding our way to that foundational pose, spreading through the fingers, inhaling to drop the belly, and exhale to round through the back, gripping through the mat, rounding the neck. Taking a few rounds of cat-cow, warming up the spine, starting to match movement to our breath. Feeling the sensations all along the spine as we flow through this rounding and curving of the back. Noticing how it feels different on the inhales versus the exhales. Which one feels better to you? The rounding of the spine or the dropping? Feel the opening of the throat as we move through our last round. Ending in static tabletop, reaching the left arm up and scooping it underneath the right, coming into thread the needle, using that right hand to press away from the mat, opening up through the scapula, taking our gaze behind us, keeping the knees underneath the hips, finding that twist. And exhale, gently press back up, reaching that left arm up and circling it around. Taking the hands, turning the fingertips, rotating them so the fingertips are pointing back towards the knees. Maybe they're only out to the sides of the mat. Maybe we have this 45-degree angle. Wherever feels good, just getting a little wrist warm up here. Finding a gentle rock, really warming up the forearms. And exhale to release, walking the fingertips out in front, tucking the toes, sending the hips up, downward facing dog. Pedaling out through the feet, one foot and then the other. Gazing at the hands, making a nice long line from the crown of the head out through the tailbones. Thinking of sending the hips up and the heels down. Feeling a nice stretch through the whole backs of the legs. Gazing at the fingertips, slowly bending the knees to walk up to meet the hands. Feet hip width apart. Ragdoll, dropping the head, grabbing onto opposite elbows, keeping a generous bend in the knee. Releasing any tension in the neck or the head. Letting the head hang. Letting it all hang out here. Taking a nice inhale. And exhale to gently release the hands, coming to rise. Hands above the head. Exhale, hands to heart center. Rocking onto the feet, lifting up the toes. Inhale one more time, hands above the head. Exhale to fold flat back. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long line through the spine. And exhale to plant the hands, stepping the feet back into plank and lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Raising the right leg, bringing it all the way through, planting it in between the hands, lowering the left, coming into low lunge. Inhale, raising the arms off the mat. They can come to the knees, they can come to behind the hips. We're sinking into the hips on every exhale. Feeling a nice stretch in the left hip flexor, in the right glute. We're squeezing the quadricep, thinking of pulling both knees in towards each other. That internal rotation. And exhale, planting the fingertips, sending the hips back, flexing the right foot. Taking a breath or two here. On the inhale, shifting the weight forward, low lunge, maybe raising the fingertips. And exhale, coming back into half split, flexing the right foot. One more time, inhale. And exhale, half splits. Inhale, back into low lunge. Taking the right hand on the inside of the foot, heel toeing that foot out a little bit. Coming onto the elbows if we can, coming into lizard. Getting a nice deep sensation in the hip. Maybe finding a little wiggle if that feels good. And coming back up. Taking that right leg back to meet the left, walking the hands back into tabletop pose. Reaching that right arm up to the sky and threading it under the left shoulder. Using the left fingertips to press into the mat, lifting the gaze behind us, creating even more space in the scapula. And exhale to gently press back up, lifting that right arm high and sweeping it around. Tucking the toes, coming up to downward facing dog. Lifting the heels, finding a nice spinal roll here. Rolling through the vertebra, feeling each vertebra of the back before we find plank. Lowering down into a chaturanga and inhaling, upward facing dog. Taking a nice vinyasa here to rinse out the spine. And exhale to tuck the toes, sending the hips back, downward facing dog. Raising that left foot, bringing it all the way through to our low lunge. Inhale, raising the hands above the mat. Nice deep breaths, sinking a little bit deeper on the exhales. Maybe inhaling the arms above the head and exhale, opening for cactus arms. One more time, inhale. And exhale, opening to cactus. Circling the arms around, pressing into half splits, flexing the left toes. Maybe wiggling them, saying hi. Nice flat back. Hips straight to the front of the mat or the back of the mat. Inhale to come back into low lunge. Exhale, sending the hips back, half splits. Sinking into that hamstring. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half splits. One more time, inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half splits. Inhale to low lunge, bringing that left hand to the inside of the foot, coming into lizard pose. We can come down onto the forearms. If not, that's totally okay. We are opening up the hip here, so however we feel that, maybe we take the left hand to the knee, coming onto the outer edge of the foot. And exhaling to take that left foot back to meet the right, lowering down onto our bellies. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lifting the chest, straightening the arms. Taking sips of air here, squeezing the navel into the spine, and exhale to release. Coming onto the knees, sending the hips back, child's pose. Taking a round of breath, forehead comes to mat, melting the heart into the mat. Noticing how our body feels here at this point in our practice. Raising back up onto the hands, onto the elbows, walking the hands out, straightening the legs, coming into Dolphin. Pressing away from the mat, using the grips of our fingers. Opening up through the fronts of the shoulders, the backs of the legs. And even taking a little push up here, a little dolphin push up, using the core a little bit, turning that guide on. And back to dolphin. Pressing up onto the hands, coming into downward facing dog. Raising the right foot, bending the knee, stepping it, coming into pigeon. Finding what feels good in this pose today here. My hips are a little tight. Maybe we're on a block or a blanket. Can always pad. Reaching the fingertips back, using the legs to stabilize us, squeezing those muscles together. And exhale to fold over the leg. Maybe coming onto the forearms or the forehead. Nice deep hip release. Inhale the chest up and coming onto the sit bones, releasing those left toes up to the air, bringing that right foot into the groin area. Reaching that right arm over towards the toes, finding a nice side body stretch. Maybe grabbing onto the foot if we can reach it. And squaring our hips to the corner of the mat, folding over that leg, rubbing onto the left foot. Coming back up. And pressing back into downward facing dog. Raising the left foot, because we just did the right. Coming into pigeon. My goodness. Ooh. Both of my hips are tight today. Checking in, seeing how yours are feeling, if they're giving you screams of pain or soreness. Ooh. Folding over the legs, coming into sleeping pigeon. Raising back up. Coming onto the sits bones, reaching over for that right foot. Lifting the chest. Spreading through the collarbones. Squaring off the hips and folding over towards that foot. Hello, foot. Raising back up, gently bringing soles of the feet together. Bound angle pose. Gently opening the hips. Butterflying the legs. And reaching the hands behind us, bringing the knees up to the sky, the ceiling, and windshield wipering the legs. Wringing them out. And whenever we feel like we are even, we can turn to face the right edge of the mat. Come to lie on our backs. Bringing one knee into the chest. Giving it a nice little loving squeeze and crossing it over the body, coming into a twist, bringing the arms out to the sides. Maybe gazing over the opposite ear. And gently coming back through center, releasing that leg. Squeezing the other into the chest, giving it a nice little hug. Before gently taking it across the body. Whenever we're ready, coming back through center, taking any last movements that maybe your body's calling for. A little hug, a little happy baby. And gently, we can find our way to a seat. Bringing hands to heart center. I thank you for choosing to practice with me today, for sharing your time and energy with me today. It's always an honor. Until next time, thank you for practicing with Yoga with Paige. Namaste.